finally. It's his first day today, so it's quiet around here. Anyway, is there anything you'd like to discuss?
I had to leave mid-session last time, so I kind of forgot to warn you. Also, sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm not sure how the state is everything so far.
Right, so basically what we did last time is looking at some of the recursive functions here that take a lot of arguments.
Right.
I decided that would be better to encapsulate stuff in classes. So last time I kind of introduced this grammar class that kind of holds everything, and the snippet class.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, not showing it in all the right places.
There we go.
So yeah, there's a grammar class to represent the entire grammar. There's the snippet class, which represents a subset of the rules. That goes in the documentation, because before that, what is this? Like if we have two rules here to document this like group of rules, wasn't really represented very well. And I don't know how much you've seen before that.
I think I'm caught up so far.
Alright. So, I need to check what I was up to last time. Oh, maybe just going through the code and moving stuff into the classes here. So the snippet gets the grammar, so there's the link from the snippet to the grammar, and the grammar also has a list of all its snippets. And the snippet has initial rule names, which are like the ones we are asked to document. So these ones. And it can also include other ones that are not listed explicitly. So for that, it has this get documented rule names method, which kind of gets set as this attribute. And this seems to work now after a few hiccups. So the problem here was that if we bake this into the snippet like this and never call this method again, if the grammar changes in the meantime, this attribute will become outdated. Right? And the grammar could change when it's simplified. Yeah, so this the simplify method of the grammar currently changes the grammar rather than creating a new object, which is probably something that would be good to change later. And keep everything immutable.
So we could create a callback, but I don't think that.
Yeah.
Can we reprocess all the snippets after all the simplification is done?
Sure.
Just keep a list of all the snippets that we have and call the method again.
Yeah, but at that point, we could just create an entire new grammar object, because all that is the list of rules, which gets recreated anyway,
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
and the snippets, which we now need to recreate too. So, the
Do we need to create snippets before simplification?
I don't know. So actually, we need to get the top level rule names, which is just a union of everything that appears in here in all the snippets. So that's input into simplification afterwards, and then after simplification we create the snippets. So now we don't need to do that, but we might need to do that in the future, because I'm still not sure if the simplification for the text version of the grammar should be different from the simplification for the diagrams. We might need like two different kinds of grammar objects for that.
Oh boy, that's.
We might need to somehow represent both in the same data structure. I'm not sure which one will be better yet, but that's probably something to look at after this refactoring. So where are we now? So the main function got a bit cleaner with this. So there's parsing the documents, which now has one argument and two outputs, like a list of the path names with all the files that have grammar snippets in them, and the rule names that we're asked to document. And we create the grammar from the grammar file and the rule names. And there's also this debug flag, which is just a boolean. Grammar isn't a good place to put it in, but probably better than a global variable. Then we get the rule names to inline, which we get it here, but I guess the grammar could include that just as easily, right? So rule names to inline basically goes through all the snippets and marks all the rules that only appear once, and marks those to inline. So the grammar could remember that in it. Oops. Rule names to inline would be self dot get rule names to inline. We'll mark this so it doesn't get called from anywhere else. And then we don't need this. We don't need it as an argument. And every function that needs it gets it from the grammar. And I guess this one is Okay, so that made things a bit nicer as well. Right, now this is a bunch of functionality that could probably go into its own function rather than be in main. So this takes the files with grammar, this is part of that. And maybe this could take the path to, and the for loop could be here. Just so the function gets less information to work with, so it's kind of encapsulated a bit more. Right, now this comment is useless because it calls update file for all the files. It's always nice. Right. And now the main logic is nice and clear, hopefully. Right, so update file. Now opens the file, gets a list of original lines and new lines, sets up a flag, goes through each line, remembers the original line, ignores stuff if it's ignoring, so there's an end condition. Not ignoring, then we append the new line, and if it matches the header, then we start ignoring the input, get the snippet we're asked to document. So the snippets are in a dict keyed by the first rule name, just so we can look them up easily. And then we generate the lines, do some new lines here. I guess that's exactly what we want. Now it would be nice to trim the final blank lines. Let's see if we can do that. And it seems this didn't change the output at all, which is weird. Oh, top level components, Taurus T, got updated. So let's see how top level components looks now. It looks good. Because I think in the meantime so let me put the comment here. So this might be an issue in the extension where it read a line twice, and I think we fixed that that issue in the extension in the meantime. Now we can bring this back, and the RST document. Oh, it's top level, right? So this one ended with a grammar snippet, so it used to have 2 new lines at the end, which is good style. But now that's fixed. All right. So this is looking good. Now we have all the node classes that I'll skip for now, and I'll go look at the logic later. So generate rule lines now takes a snippet, gets its documented rules, get rule names to inline, so this variable name is probably useless now, just as readable this way. Yields a header.
Since you're only iterating to it once, does it really make sense to create a set out of it? I guess it does.
Oh, I guess we're always creating a set out of it when we use it, so we might as well make a set here. And we're never changing it, so it might as well be a frozen set.
It's frozen set default, you have it included from collection.
Yeah, that's built in. So the important part wasn't like the order, but deduplication. We don't want to oh, it's not in, so the important part was lookups in this case.
True.
So the diagrams are all the documented rules except the ones that we want to inline. And I wonder if that should be a property of the rule.
Sorry, I was thinking it as what should be incorporated rule?
Whether it should be inlined or not.
Probably.
How do we use this rule names to inline? Oh, we only use rule names to inline in the context of a snippet, and it's also calculated on an individual snippet. So this should probably go on the snippet here. Instead of snippet, I should say self. What? That means now result doesn't need to be built up this way. Right, and then I use it on the snippets, not on the grammar. Does that change the output? Looks like it doesn't. Do I have a diff in this giant command? Yeah, I do, and there's no diff, apparently. So that works. And how do we use this? So we get the names for the grunt diagrams, which is the documented rules except the ones to inline. And here, that's a different spelling of the same operation. No, this is rules to inline, right? So that's an intersection. Oh, this one? Yeah.
Are you using that to determine whether the number variable should be inline?
Yeah. So node to diagram element will inline the rules if it sees them as this set. And I guess we could put this whole expression there, but it's better with the name. Yeah, but moving it to snippet was a good thing to do. Alright, where were we? So we say what diagrams should be generated. We kind of get the available space here for line wrapping reasons, which doesn't really implement it yet. And there's some debug info. Probably want to get rid of that at some point. Each node gets its lines formatted. If it's the first one, it gets the name prepended. Oh, all good. Well, this looks like kind of the minimal code. And there's some start of folding the long lines, which I guess I'll mark with a to-do. Alright, simplify node simplifies repeatedly until simplification no longer changes it. I wonder if this should be a method. But there's another method called simplify, which only does the one iteration of this. So I guess the right thing to do would be simplify once. Yes. Yeah, that's a big renaming. So let me put things in Git.
It's fine where it is. I don't think it's a big deal. Is there any way to configure Kate for the commit editor? It's Kate, right? Yeah, it's Kate.
Yeah, but this isn't the only Kate window I have open, and I really wouldn't want it to open on a Kate on a different desktop and then either switch to that desktop or not switch and have it hidden. And also git commit only does the commit when you close the file, which is kind of an unnatural operation for me. I just keep everything open. So yeah, there is a way. There definitely can work that way. And I'm sure there's a plugin for Kate that lets me commit from like a keyboard shortcut or something like that. Or see the diff in here. Haven't really explored that. Alright, so simplify node now becomes simplify on the node. So this needs to take a self, and the current node, blah blah blah. There's this nifty debug output that probably want to keep, and then it returns node. Now the problem here is that I renamed something to clash with an old version of something. And I want to rename this one to simplify 1, but now when the rest of the code says simplify, it's not really sure, it's not really obvious which one it is. So to prevent any clashes, what I like to do is to temporarily give this a different name, and now I know whenever there's a simplify, that needs to be changed to one of these. And after that, I go through all of those and change them back to simplify. Does that make sense? All right. So this simplifies until it calls a fixed, until it reaches a fixed point, which is, you know, until that simplification no longer changes it. But I avoid the technical term here. So node.simplify, that was the simplify once, or one. And now I find whole words that say simplify and change each one. So this is the method that should be called simplify once. Comment, there's a method. Simplify rule set apparently. Simplify grammar. That it. Oh, it used to be called simplify node, not simplify fix. Okay. Right. Great, so I now don't have any occurrences of simplify except for the grammar method. And this used to be called simplifying nodes, now it's node.simplify. So it's item.simplify. Okay. Runs without error. That's great. Right, so we're simplifying, and there's simplified rule set, which, so where's this called? It's called in simplify of the grammar, so I guess this whole function could be simplify once for the grammar.
Didn't you just say that was
yeah. So this one's called simplify rule set, and it takes a dict and top level rule names for some reason. But it really makes sense in the context of a grammar, because the rule set is basically the grammar. Well, the grammar has the rule set and top level rule names. So I'll put this in grammar. Make it private here. Old rule set would just be self.rules. And instead of returning, it can sign. It doesn't need to take the rules. And top level rule names is just self.top level rule names. Right. So it basically simplifies all the rules and then inlines the rules that are only found once or only referenced once in the entire grammar. Right. Right. Oh, and one thing I see there. There's generate all descendants, which again could be a method on node, right? Oh, so generate all descendants takes a filter class.
Okay, sorry. I didn't see the point. I thought it was like the filter function.
Oh, the filter. Right. There's a clash with a built-in, right?
Yeah, I was really confused for a second. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, the filter is nice as a as an argument name.
It is. It really is.
Maybe it could be named filter class. Be a bit more specific. Also a bit longer. Oh no, but when I moved it to a method, there's a problem because node is not defined. So I need to do something like this. Or, right? And now all the calls need to be changed as well. And everything just works before. Right, now we have a bunch of functions that really take one main argument of a class we're defining, which really should be a method on that class, just to make it clear. Or maybe not this one, because it's also because it's also a method on the node. Is this? Oh, it takes a get rule, follows it. Maybe this needs to be simplified later. Yeah. So there's generate rule lines for a snippet. There's node to diagram element. Yeah, this is then for the diagrams. Okay, I guess it's time to start simplifying one of these gnarly functions. Do you remember what getRuleFollowSet does?
I think so.
Just to see if
See what?
just to see if you have the context here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I found the tool online.
Ah, right.
It said terminal says follow a rule. The main follow a rule.
Right, now this might be a method on the grammar if but I guess it's also fine with just the dict of rules. And what this does is it has a recursive function inside, and all that recursive function does is it matches the class of its argument. So this is essentially a big if ladder, which is something I should probably live as methods on these classes. Right? Do we have any state for this recursion? Oh, I guess there's one big result that gets updated. And then there's rules considered. Which serves to terminate the recursion, if I understand correctly. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so I guess each of these should become a method on the node. So that would be does this work? Oh, I see. Dear. I'm thinking of a way to simplify this because it just seems too complicated to follow.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases and
So to split this up, go ahead.
No, and we could just make the case sequence into a function and the case optional into that was later. Case 0 or more into a function. But I don't think that's enough.
Well, I guess it could be methods on these classes. But the problem is here. Currently, one thing is we return true or false. So it's usually true. And in choice, it's might be false. So when do we actually return false here? Oh, in non-terminal. When we don't return anything explicitly, yeah. All right.
Well, it was a good session. Sorry about the short stay.
Oh, just some kind of refactoring. All right, then we'll pick it up next week. I'll think about it a bit more in the meantime. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for
See you around.